I'm great. I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing well. On Saturday night, you were at that White House Correspondents' dinner.
I was.
Were you outraged? Were your delicate sensibilities offended?
My sensibilities are not particularly delicate, but I will say this, that it's really interesting how many people in the Trump White House and the Trump-supporting media who were very offended about what they consider to be a very indecent performance by the comedian. I've been trying to have a conversation on my show about decency and about insults and smearing and people saying things about other people that are not true and are just beyond the boundaries of good behavior. And if the Trump White House and their allies in the media want to have this conversation about decency, I welcome them to the table to talk about it. But there's a bunch of stuff that they need to get caught up on before we get to a comedian at the White House dinner.
Who's there to be funny.
Yeah, there's, you know, we want to talk about whether or not it's appropriate to say that John McCain isn't a war hero because he was captured, and whether or not it's okay to make fun of people with disabilities or to make light of people who have drug and alcohol dependency issues. There's minorities, talking about women's appearances in inappropriate ways. There's a backup of material if the Trump people want to talk about it. Then we can get to the comedians. Then we can get to the comedians.
Well, that's not how it works anymore. Is it less fun when the president isn't there at that event?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
It depends on the president,
I see.
I guess. I guess.
You were the recipient of an award. We all focus on the comedian, but there is an award ceremony, and you won the Merriman Smith Award.
That's right, for breaking news coverage. Me and a team of reporters, Jim Sciutto, Evan Perez, and the legendary Carl Bernstein won an award. We broke the story in January 2017 that the intelligence chiefs had heard about this dossier. We all know about the dossier now.
Yeah.
And that they had briefed President Obama and then President-elect Trump on the existence of this material that the Russians were claiming was compromising.
Yes. And was this the biggest story that you've ever broken, would you say?
It was pretty big. I don't know. It's tough to compare them all. I've won this award a few times, and there were other. I did one about during the Obama years when he was about to fire his director of national intelligence.
Yeah.
And I knew before the director of national intelligence that he was about to be fired. So that was one. That might have been...
You should get an award for not screaming when you interview Kellyanne Conway, because that alone is a remarkable achievement.
I don't scream every time. I appreciate your noticing.
I want to show something, because I don't know if you've even seen this, but this is what happened when you got your award. Now, let's run the video here. You and the other guys, and you saying hello to people up there on the dais, and there's Sarah Sanders, and she just kind of like she doesn't stand, she doesn't even seem to see you. Is it a good sign when you're being ignored completely by the White House press secretary?
Well, you know, theoretically, no president and no press secretary should be comfortable in that room, I guess. I hadn't seen that since then, and I didn't notice it at the time, but I don't know if you've picked up on this. The president is not really a fan of reporters sharing facts about him to the American people. They don't like that.
Why do you think that is?
Well, the facts aren't always all that great for him.
When you get information from a source, how does that information typically come? Is it in writing? Is it a text? Is it an email, a phone call? Do you meet at a secret location? How does that go?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, I'm not asking how. So it's a secret location?
Sometimes.
Oh, really? Wow.
Sometimes it's on the phone, sometimes it's email, sometimes it's text. There's lots of, you know, encrypted devices these days, encrypted apps that you can use.
You have an encrypted app?
I'm revealing way too much about this procedure.
Yeah, well, I guess, but I'm just curious about it. Like, when you see then that person, that man or woman, at an event or whatever, maybe you're interviewing that person, do you guys have like a thing where you try not to, you know, it's like a little bit weird, maybe you don't, because you probably want to hug them, you know you're going to win this Merriman Smith Award again for the 5th time or whatever the hell you've won it. Is this something that hey, thanks, man, or has it got to be completely under the radar?
Completely under the radar. Completely under the radar. I'm thinking back about all the, you know, tips I've gotten. No, you don't acknowledge the person, you don't thank them.
Seems ungrateful. Nothing at Christmas time or anything?
They don't want to be thanked. They don't want to be acknowledged. They don't want to be rewarded or in any public way, because
everybody wants a little reward, some kind of acknowledgement in public. You should do it on your last show, whenever that is.
Just out every source I ever had.
I just want to thank my sources.
When I retire, I want to thank my sources. They are right.
Thanks for watching, and remember, every time you click the subscribe button, one of your enemies gets destroyed.